Oh, this is Leeds members only Asenby stretch. There are no day tickets here at all. It starts at the road bridge there, so the very top pegs here, which are quite a long walk, are very noisy. And you can see there in the background Topcliffe Church, which will give you some idea where I am. And the river's on my right, so you're sitting here on the right bank going downstream, and opposite the bank is the Barbel Fishing Society, so you may find yourself sharing a stretch of water with somebody sitting opposite. And I'll come downstream and we'll have a look at a few of the pegs on the way down. The pegs are quite well spaced out, so you're not really fishing into anybody else's water. And there you get quite a good view down the top end, or just below the top end. And about halfway down the field here, on the opposite bank, you've got this big man-made fort, ancient thing. This hill was obviously built by humans. Must have been a tremendous effort to build it. It's called the Maiden's Bower, and it was first mentioned in 948. But it was given to William de Percy, one of the knights who fought with William the Conqueror at the Battle of Hastings. It was one of several forts given to him. It's a Motte and Bailey fort, which you can find more about on the internet. And the Percy family are now based at Alnwick Castle, with its famous gardens in Northumberland. But this was their main Yorkshire seat, and the first sort of fortification or big house that was built on it, a castle I suppose, was built there in 1071, which was 5 years after the Battle of Hastings. It has a particularly gruesome history, but quite an interesting history as well. In that Charles I was imprisoned there and by the Scots, and the ransom was paid, £100,000 was paid to release him. But before that, in 1489, Henry VII, King of England, needed a lot of money to fight the French, which was raised by taxes. And the member of the Percy family who was living there at the time, it was his job to get these taxes from the local people, and they weren't terribly impressed, so they barged away into the fort and murdered him and a lot of his servants. And the funeral procession, which went from here to a couple of other Percy castles on the way to Beverley, was one of the most magnificent ever seen in England. Anyway, if you want to know more, you can find out more about it on the internet. You can see here that some of the pegs are very, very steep. There's not much of a little shelf at the bottom to stand on. You see banks of willows down there on the opposite side. Ideal for Barbel. The river at the moment is very, very low, even though it's rained very heavily all day. The rain has disappeared east and left this lovely balmy evening, but very, very still, as you can see there from the shadows on the water. Somebody's obviously brought a spade in and dug this out so they can get down, and made a little bank there for them to stand on. There's a lot of streamer weed on it, and opposite is a big tree, and downstream there you've got some willows hanging in the water. Again, very, very barbely looking. And then just below this tree it becomes Bradford City Angling Club, their length. Again, you can see willows all the way down there. Fortunately, not many people fish the Bradford City side, except for this peg here, and then one further down, which is behind the island, and therefore it doesn't interfere with your fishing if you're fishing on the Leeds side. Very steep peg, and with it being wet, you'd have all on to get down there. Well, getting down wouldn't be a problem, but you'd have all on to get back up. So I've just come down the top field over this stile into the field which you come into when you come from the car. He's looking back upstream. Come down, see that fort in the distance. And this little grassy stretch here, under the wires, where the wires cross the river, is very rarely fished for some reason or other. I don't know why, because there are some nice willows opposite there. There's a little gate you come through where you park your car, and you just come across this field. And I'm standing just above the river. As you can see there. So just coming downstream, there's a big bank of rushes in the water. Chap there enjoying a bit of barbel fishing, eating a sandwich. And this is the island, which you can see there. And the river splits into two here. It goes round the back of the island on the Bradford City side, and then down a little streamy glide on this side, which we'll have a look at. So this is just straight across from the cars, and it's obviously very popular because it's easy to get to. There's some nice willows opposite there. So here we are where the island divides, and you can see the pace of the water just picks up here as it goes downstream. And it's quite shallow, and you see a bit of streamer weed in there. Some lovely chub come out of here. This is the bottom of the island, and I fished just to the left of this on one of the videos and caught a nice chub and missed probably a barbel. And you can see there on the Bradford City side, with the river being so low, there's almost no flow at all. And the main flow you can see there, right in the middle. And the river is full of streamer weed. But you can wade out, and I've seen people trotting for chub down this streamy glide for quite a long way with great success. And I suspect it would be a good place to fish for barbel. But you have to stand in the river unless you've got a seat with long legs. So it not be easy. And of course if you catch one they dive straight into this stream of weed, and it can be really tough stuff to get them out of. You can see that stream of weed there with the rapidly flowing water. It looks a great place for barbel, but you very rarely see people fishing for barbel down here. Chub, yes, but barbel not very often. And as I swing round, you've got a World War II pillbox, which of course is now a listed building, would you believe? And then when you come down below the pillbox, wire fence, there's no real access to the river. And this fence here is the bottom. The next stretch belongs to the Sheep Hills farm and is private water. So there is the Sheep Hills farm, and right in the middle of it is an egret, a white heron which people have been commenting on. There are quite a few of them, it's not just one. A sign of climate change, some would say. Well, I'm all for a bit of climate change, preferably warmer. It's lovely to see. Obviously they're very, very common in Spain and around the Mediterranean. But lovely to see here. And big sharp beak there and long legs. So, that's the Sheep Hill stretch, going downstream there.